really love installing, upgrading, and fixing security agents in my cloud estate. Why do I say that? Because I sell things for a company that deploys an agent. There's no other reason. Because let's face it, agents can be a real headache. Well, Orca Security now gives you a single tool to detect basically every risk in your cloud environment that's as easy to install and maintain as a smartphone app. It is agentless, or my intro would have gotten me in trouble here, but it can still see deep into your AWS workloads while guaranteeing 100% coverage. With Orca Security, there are no overlooked assets, no DevOps headaches, and believe me, you will hear from those people if you cause them headaches, and no performance hits on live environment. Connect your first cloud account in minutes and see for yourself at orca.security. That's orca as in whale, .security as in that thing your company claims to care about but doesn't until right after it really should have. Once upon a time, I could visit Amazon's retail site and search for anything I wanted to buy. Underpants, a box cutter, floor wax. It didn't matter what I searched for because Amazon was and is the everything store with thousands of options for every kind of item imaginable. I'd find the one with the best reviews, click the Buy Now button, and sure enough, it would show up by the end of the week. Nothing could be simpler. And then Amazon discovered that it could sell ads and make money. I'm unsure exactly how much money Amazon makes from selling ads, but it's clearly enough to forsake their earn trust and customer obsession leadership principles. When I search for box cutter, I see first an option for featured from our brands. Next, I see a few sponsored options. Apparently, you can't pay to come in ahead of Amazon's crappy house brand offering. Then I see some no-name option called Internet's Best that somehow has over 10,000 reviews for a freaking box cutter. In the end, every purchase on Amazon feels like a crapshoot. Sometimes it'll be awesome, most of the time it'll be mediocre, and once in a while it'll be counterfeit. I no longer trust Amazon's search for anything other than fairly basic things. For purchases where quality matters, I'll consult a few trusted review sites and click through directly to the item in question. And every time, I think to myself that I should really start buying things from other stores one of these days. Of course, none of this applies to AWS. I log into my account and stare at the console. If I search for something nonsensical like floor wax with quotes around it, 30 offerings show up in the AWS marketplace. None of them feature the term floor wax. In the event that I look for floor wax as an AWS customer in the console, I expect the only search return to be 0 results, plus probably an alert to the still NDA'd product team for Amazon Floor Wax, coming reInvent 2022. Instead, I'm staring at what feels like the thin end of a wedge. It's evocative of the early days of Amazon retail's slide into eroding trust. Today, it's unclear how these console search results are ordered. I see tiny companies coming before large ones, products with 5 reviews coming before products with hundreds of reviews. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. You know, kind of like the sort order for services themselves in the AWS console. What we're seeing now is the early stages of decline in a few places across the Amazon ecosystem. Unified search is the most obvious example, but there are more. The EC2 console has featured marketplace AMIs since almost the beginning. ECS features an AWS marketplace option. The S3 console now has an AWS marketplace for S3 section. And it could get worse. I can easily see a scenario where better placement in the AWS Management Console's unified search results gets auctioned off between various partners. AWS's native and uninspiring service offering in an arena might preempt the marketplace offering, but not always. I can see an AWS's choice next to various offerings that are algorithmically derived and placed, probably from Twitter mentions or other red herring sources. And I can see growing deeply and profoundly weary of using the AWS console because some enterprising product managers somewhere discovered that they could make more money by screwing up the entire thing with ads. There was a time when Amazon seemed to take the long view. Building AWS wasn't a bet that was going to pay off in anything other than a multi-decade timeframe. Refunding dissatisfied customers was a slam dunk win in virtually every case that wasn't outright fraud because happy customers are repeat customers. And Amazon's business model was selling things to you in return for money, instead of also monetizing your attention or convincing you to do things that aren't in your direct interest. The top retail results used to be the best options to purchase, not the vendors that paid the most money to Amazon. That shift to ads broke the faith. Instead of earning trust, Amazon is selling out in the short term. This episode is sponsored in part by Cribble Logstream. Cribble Logstream is an observability pipeline that lets you collect, reduce, transform, and route machine data from anywhere to anywhere. Simple, right? As a nice bonus, it helps you not only improve visibility into what the hell's going on, but also helps you save money almost by accident. Kind of like not putting a whole bunch of vowels and other letters that would be easier to spell into a company name. To learn more, visit cribble.io. That's CRIBL.io, and tell them Corey sent you, and wait for the wince. There are differences here, but not the good kind. In unified search, the marketplace results all have a star rating from 1 to 5 based on AWS customer reviews. In a fair and just world, customers would also be able to rate native AWS services on the same scale and have those ratings displayed. But let's be honest, no product manager in all of AWS is quite bold enough for the potential consequences of that particular move. This contrasts with Amazon's own house brand retail products, which do get rated. The AWS reviews further claim to be vetted for accuracy and to establish whether there's an active subscription to the product being reviewed. Well, that sounds terrific. Some reviews are clearly slipping through the cracks. I found a number of 1-star reviews that, instead of talking about the product in any meaningful way, distilled down to, "I couldn't figure out how to launch an EC2 instance." I get it. AWS is hard to figure out. But this is the equivalent of giving an Amazon retail product a terrible rating because the shipper lost your package. It's time to be afraid, because Amazon Retail and AWS are distinctly different subsidiaries of Amazon, but they ultimately ladder up to the same folks at the top. If Amazon thinks elevating its own, at times admittedly second-rate products and selling out to advertisers is a smart and profitable model in its retail business, and clearly it does because we're still suffering from its lousy search results, AWS users need to be on the lookout for something similar. This pervasive expression of Amazonian evil is already infecting our world, and it might not be long before the grotesque transformation of AWS Search Console is complete. We'll know it's here when we get AWS partners offering us freebies to review them positively in the AWS Marketplace.
This has been a Humble Pod production. Stay humble.